Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand. Napoleon Hill. Those words aren't advice. They are a call to arms. A divine charge to rise up now, not later. When God begins preparing you for something greater, He doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He stirs your spirit to move in faith, not comfort. That nudge you keep feeling, that quiet voice within, urging change, action, purpose, that's not hesitation, that's holy instruction. Yet we hesitate. We feel the shift, sense the calling, but we stand still, trapped by excuses, fear, and self-doubt masked as timing. The daily noise distracts us. The comfort of the familiar dulls our edge. And before we know it, God's whisper becomes faint. You weren't created to float through life. You were commissioned to break through it with fire, purpose, and relentless forward motion. Hill wrote of countless people who waited for a perfect sign from heaven, only to watch the moment pass them by. But heaven doesn't move by perfect timing, it moves by obedient action. And Hill knew it. Definiteness of purpose opens divine doors. Stop waiting for another confirmation. Stop waiting for courage to magically arrive. Decide. Move. Act. That is the only true path forward. Every trial you've survived has shaped you. Every delay has prepared you. But none of it matters unless you step forward in faith. As Hill showed, success is never for the passive. It belongs to the ones who act when everything says, wait. And God? He doesn't bless idleness disguised as preparation. He blesses boldness, fueled by belief and grounded in purpose. So why do we keep pausing? Why wait for motivation when obedience is the fire that sets everything in motion? Because we believe the lie that readiness comes first. But Hill's wisdom and God's way says, action births alignment, not the other way around. That delay in your spirit, that's not God. That's fear. And fear has no place where faith is ready to walk. Your destiny isn't waiting on a better day. It's waiting on a better decision. The people Hill interviewed weren't fearless. They were faithful. They moved anyway. And their lives became proof of divine reward. So take the first step. Not when it's convenient, but now, because that's where God meets you. Not in comfort, but in courage. Don't wait. Start where you stand. And trust that heaven will meet you in motion. Indecision creeps in when we doubt God's plan, turning what could be a triumphant journey into a series of missed opportunities, just as Hill warned about procrastination as the enemy of achievement. Picture someone feeling divinely guided toward a new venture, like starting a business, but they delay out of fear, watching their confidence erode like sand in the tide. This hesitation isn't just a mental block. It's a spiritual one, blocking the flow of God's preparation and leaving us stagnant in our comfort zones. Fear and uncertainty amplify the problem, making us question God's timing and worry about potential failure, echoing Hill's insights on how fear acts as a mental barrier. Yet, biblical wisdom, like Proverbs 3:5-6, reminds us to trust in the Lord, and Hill's teachings on autosuggestion, positive self-talk, can help us combat these doubts. Imagine the anxiety of stepping out of your comfort zone when God is calling you to grow, but by facing it head-on, you align with Hill's philosophy of turning fear into fuel. The solution lies in taking immediate action, even if it's imperfect, because that's how we create momentum and build unshakable faith, just as Hill advocated in going the extra mile. Start small, like journaling about your purpose, and watch how that simple act mirrors the stories in Hill's books where bold steps led to greatness. Action isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting God's preparation and moving forward, one faith-driven step at a time. Strengthening decisiveness means making firm choices as an act of spiritual surrender, building on Hill's idea that decisions form the foundation of all achievement. See it as partnering with God, pray for clarity, then commit to a decision within 24 hours, turning hesitation into a habit of proactive faith. That first step is crucial. It's the starting point of everything, as Hill taught, proving your readiness when God is shaping you for more. Right now, pause and think. What one small action can you take today toward that greater purpose you're sensing? Overcoming hesitation and fear requires facing them directly, because immediate action reveals God's unwavering support, much like Hill's concept of burning bridges behind you. In those moments of doubt, remember how Hill's role models pushed through rejection and emerged stronger, their faith deepened by the struggle. Failure isn't the end. It's a divine tool for growth, carrying the seed of equivalent advantage, as Hill observed, refining us for the greater things God has in store. Look at biblical figures like Joseph, who faced setbacks but persisted, paralleling Hill's interviews with those who turned failures into stepping stones. By embracing this mindset, you transform fear into resilience, allowing God's preparation to unfold in your life. Building self-discipline is the key to long-term success, not relying on fleeting emotions, but on habits that align with God's timeline, drawing from Hill's principle of mastery through habit. Discipline becomes a spiritual practice, like daily prayer or reflection, keeping your focus sharp on the greater purpose God is revealing. Start with positive habits, such as waking up early for meditation or setting daily goals, echoing the routines Hill recommended for sustained achievement. Try a 7-day challenge. Commit to one faith-based action each day, and feel how it builds the persistence Hill championed. Creating a clear vision and goals is what fuels your motivation, linking to Hill's definite chief aim as a way to discern God's preparation. Make sure your goals are spiritually grounded, like aligning your career with a sense of calling, so your progress feels authentic and divinely guided. Break them into actionable steps. Write your God-given vision, set 3 achievable goals, and review them weekly to stay on track. Visualization, as Hill taught, combined with faith, turns vague dreams into tangible realities, helping you navigate God's plan. Now, let's draw from a real-life example. Think of Andrew Carnegie, a key influence on Hill, who rose from poverty through persistent action, seeing it as God's preparation for industrial success. Carnegie's story shows how embracing divine nudges, despite hardships, led to a legacy of achievement, much like Hill's principles in action. We can also look to Moses, who hesitated at God's call, but ultimately acted, proving that stepping forward builds the faith needed for greatness. How might God be preparing you right now, just as He did for these role models, urging you to move beyond your doubts? In conclusion, when God is preparing you for something greater, remember that motivation and clarity follow action, not the other way around, echoing Hill's legacy of faith-fueled persistence. Hesitation only blocks God's plan, but disciplined action invites growth, fulfillment, and the unfolding of your true potential. Don't wait for the perfect moment. As Hill said, start where you stand with whatever tools you have, trusting that God is guiding your every step. Today, take that one small step toward your greater purpose, define a goal, act on a divine nudge, and watch how it transforms your path. Share your progress with others, perhaps on social media or in a community, to build accountability and inspire those around you. Remember, God's preparation is active in your life, waiting for you to respond with the courage and persistence Hill embodied. Let this be the turning point where you trade waiting for doing, fear for faith, and doubt for decisive action. As you move forward, carry Hill's wisdom. Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Trust God and act now. Your legacy is waiting to unfold, shaped by the divine preparation that's already at work within you. So, embrace this moment, take a deep breath, and step into the greater story God has written for you. When God is preparing you for something greater, He often plants a subtle whisper in your heart, urging you to move beyond your comfort zone, just as Napoleon Hill described in his teachings on faith and purpose. You might feel that inner nudge, like a divine call to action, yet find yourself hesitating, trapped in the cycle of procrastination that Hill warned against as the greatest thief of opportunity. Imagine standing at the edge of a new path, where God's plan awaits, but daily distractions pull you back into the familiar, eroding your sense of divine timing. Hill's principle of definiteness of purpose reminds us that waiting for the perfect moment is an illusion. God's preparation demands that we act now, with faith as our guide. In those moments of doubt, remember that God equips us through challenges, not ease, echoing Hill's stories of successful individuals who turned obstacles into stepping stones. Procrastination often masks as spiritual waiting, but as Hill pointed out, true inspiration follows action, not the other way around. You may think you're pausing for a sign from above, but in reality, you're allowing fear to block the greater destiny God has in store. Hill's legacy teaches that every delay diminishes your momentum, preventing you from aligning with the divine flow that leads to achievement. Consider the person who senses a career shift as God's call, but lingers in indecision, letting self-doubt whisper louder than faith. This hesitation isn't just a personal flaw, it's a spiritual barrier, as Hill described, where negative thoughts sabotage the seeds of possibility God has planted. When you wait for motivation to strike, you're inverting the process. Hill knew that action begets motivation, fueling the fire of divine preparation. From Hill's interviews, we learn of people who acted despite uncertainty, like those who pursued their dreams and found God's hand guiding them through persistence. Indecision stems from doubting God's perfect plan, a trap Hill called the enemy of progress, keeping you from the legacy you're meant to build. Real-world examples abound. Someone avoiding a bold move, fearing failure, only to miss the growth God intended through that very challenge. Fear and uncertainty creep in, making you question if now is the right time. But Hill countered this with his emphasis on overcoming mental barriers through faith. Biblical wisdom, like Proverbs 3, 5-6, aligns with Hill's teachings. Trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding, for action dispels doubt. Picture the anxiety of leaving a secure job when God calls you to something more. Hill's auto-suggestion technique can reframe that fear into empowering self-talk. By repeating affirmations of faith, you partner with God to push through hesitation, just as Hill advised for those facing the unknown. The solution lies in taking immediate action, no matter how small, to align with God's preparation and build the momentum Hill championed. Start with a simple step, like journaling your purpose, and watch how it mirrors Hill's stories of individuals who achieved greatness through bold beginnings. Action isn't about perfection. It's about demonstrating trust in God's plan, as Hill's principle of going the extra mile illustrates. Strengthen your decisiveness by treating decisions as acts of spiritual surrender, echoing Hill's foundation of achievement through clear choices. Try this. Pray for clarity, then commit to one decision within 24 hours, building the proactive faith Hill endorsed. Remember, the first step proves your readiness to God, much like Hill's starting point of all achievement, turning hesitation into progress. As you take that step, feel the fear dissolve, revealing God's unwavering support, just as Hill described in his philosophy of burning bridges behind you. Facing rejection or setbacks in pursuit of your calling strengthens your trust, blending Hill's resilience with spiritual insight. Learning from failure is God's refining tool, carrying the seed of equivalent advantage, as Hill so wisely observed. Think of Hill's interviews with those who failed repeatedly but persisted, much like biblical figures such as Joseph, whose trials led to triumph. Each failure isn't an end. It's a lesson in God's preparation, urging you to rise with the persistence Hill advocated. Overcoming hesitation requires self-discipline, the key to long-term success that Hill emphasized as mastery through habit. Discipline is a spiritual practice, like daily prayer or reflection, keeping you focused on God's greater purpose amid life's chaos. Build positive habits to support divine preparation, such as waking up early for meditation, drawing from Hill's routines for sustained achievement. Challenge yourself to a 7-day habit of faith-based actions, internalizing Hill's teachings on persistence one day at a time. Clear vision and goals fuel your motivation, linking to Hill's definite chief aim as a way to discern God's calling. Make your goals spiritually grounded, aligning ambitions with a sense of divine purpose, as Hill suggested for authentic progress. Define specific, actionable goals and break them into steps using Hill's framework of visualization infused with faith. Here's a template. Write your God-given vision, set 3 achievable steps, and review weekly to stay aligned with His plan. As you clarify your vision, you'll find the motivation Hill promised, turning abstract dreams into tangible realities. For real-life inspiration, look to Napoleon Hill's encounters, like Andrew Carnegie's rise from poverty through persistent action, viewing it as God's preparation. Carnegie's story shows how embracing challenges led to industrial success, paralleling Hill's principles of faith and effort. Consider modern or biblical examples, such as Moses who hesitated but acted on God's call, building a legacy through obedience and persistence. Just as Moses transformed hesitation into leadership, you too can step into your destined role by applying Hill's strategies. Reflect on this. How might God be preparing you, much like these role models, to create a lasting impact? In conclusion, when God is preparing you for something greater, remember that motivation and clarity emerge from action, not waiting, as Hill's legacy affirms. Hesitation only blocks the divine plan, but disciplined steps invite the growth and fulfillment God intends for you. Echoing Hill, do not wait for the perfect time. Start where you stand, trusting that God is guiding your every move. By acting now, you unlock the potential within, blending faith with Hill's principles of persistence and purpose. Let this be your turning point, where procrastination gives way to proactive faith, leading to the greater destiny awaiting you. Share your progress with others, as Hill encouraged community and achievement, and watch how it inspires those around you. Remember, God's preparation is active, not passive. It's in your hands to seize the moment and build your legacy. As you move forward, carry Hill's wisdom. Faith without action is like a seed without soil, unrealized and barren. Embrace the journey, knowing that each step aligns you closer to God's vision, fueled by the unyielding spirit Hill championed. In the quiet moments, listen for that divine whisper and respond with the courage Hill instilled in so many. Your greater purpose is within reach. Don't let doubt steal another day from the extraordinary life God has planned. Finally, as you reflect on Hill's teachings, let them remind you that with God as your guide, no preparation is in vain. Take that first step today and witness how the pieces of your life fall into place, creating a tapestry of success and faith. You've got the tools, the wisdom from Hill, and the backing of a higher power, Now, it's time to act. May your path be illuminated by divine light, turning every challenge into a triumph, just as Hill envisioned. In closing, trust the process, honor the preparation, and step boldly into the greatness God has reserved for you. Remember, the legacy you build starts with one decision: to move, to act, to embrace the call. God is preparing you. Will you answer? Let Hill's words echo in your heart. Start now, for the world needs what only you can offer. With faith as your compass and action as your vessel, sail toward that greater horizon. You've heard the message. Now, make it your reality. Blessings await on the other side of hesitation. Go forth, empowered and ready, for God's greater plan is unfolding through you. In the spirit of Napoleon Hill, rise above and achieve. And so, we end with hope, urging you to begin your journey today. Thank you for listening. May your steps be guided and your legacy profound. Fade out or end music. Script concludes. Optional. Call for feedback or sharing. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, as Napoleon Hill taught in Think and Grow Rich. And when God is preparing you for something greater, He plants that seed of possibility deep within your soul. Picture yourself at a crossroads, feeling that divine nudge toward a new path, yet hesitation creeps in, whispering doubts about your readiness. Procrastination often masks itself as waiting for a sign from above, but in truth, it's a barrier that blocks the very preparation God has in store for you. You might sense a calling for a career shift or a personal transformation, only to get tangled in daily distractions that dull your spiritual awareness. This lack of motivation isn't a flaw. It's a common human struggle, as Hill observed in his interviews with successful people who once felt stuck. Remember, true progress in God's plan demands action, not endless waiting for the perfect moment that may never arrive. Hill's principle of definiteness of purpose reminds us that aligning with divine timing means committing to move forward, even amidst uncertainty. God prepares us through life's challenges, refining our character like a blacksmith tempers steel. But we must take the first step in faith. If you're feeling unfulfilled, it's likely because inaction has created a gap between where you are and where God intends you to be. Let's draw from Hill's legacy. Faith isn't passive. It's the fuel that turns divine preparation into tangible achievement. Now, consider why you might not be taking action. Perhaps you're waiting for motivation to strike like lightning from the heavens. Hill called this a form of self-sabotage, where we expect inspiration to carry us. But in reality, motivation follows action, not the other way around. I recall a story from Hill's writings about a man who delayed his dreams, waiting for a heavenly sign, only to realize that his breakthrough came after he simply started. This misconception delays God's preparation, keeping you in a cycle of spiritual doubt and missed opportunities. Indecision often stems from doubting God's plan, as if your hesitation could somehow protect you from failure. Hill identified procrastination as the enemy of achievement, a spiritual block that prevents you from stepping into the role God has designed for you. Think of someone avoiding a career change they feel divinely guided toward, paralyzed by fear, and how that erodes their confidence over time. In real life, this might look like putting off that important conversation or project, letting fear whisper that you're not ready yet. Fear and uncertainty amplify this hesitation, making you question God's timing and your own abilities. As Hill taught, fear is a mental barrier that can be overcome with persistent effort, much like biblical wisdom in Proverbs encourages us to trust in the Lord with all our heart. You might feel anxious about leaving your comfort zone, but remember, God's preparation often involves pushing you beyond what feels safe. Hill's concept of autosuggestion, using positive self-talk, can combat these fears, helping you reframe doubt as a temporary obstacle. The solution lies in taking immediate action, even if it's imperfect, because that's how you align with God's greater vision for your life. Hill emphasized going the extra mile as a demonstration of trust, turning hesitation into powerful momentum that builds your faith. Start with a small, faith-driven step, like journaling about your purpose, and watch how it mirrors the stories of those who achieve greatness through bold moves. Action creates a ripple effect, drawing you closer to God's plan and revealing opportunities you never noticed while standing still. Strengthening decisiveness means treating decisions as a form of spiritual surrender, partnering with God rather than going it alone. Hill believed decisions are the foundation of achievement, so make one firm choice today to prove your readiness for what's ahead. Here's a simple exercise. Pray for clarity, then commit to one decision within the next 24 hours to build that proactive habit. Practice the first step by acting on that divine nudge right now. It's the starting point of all achievement, as Hill would say. Pause for a moment and consider, what one small action can you take today toward your greater purpose? Overcoming hesitation and fear requires facing them head on, because immediate action reveals God's unwavering support in your journey. Hill's idea of burning bridges behind you symbolizes the commitment needed to move forward, leaving fear in the past. Imagine a story like Hill's own. He faced rejection repeatedly but persisted, viewing each setback as God's way of preparing him for success. In that persistence, fear dissolves, replaced by a strengthened trust in God's plan, much like a seed breaking through soil to reach the sun. Learning from failure is another key. See it as a divine tool for growth, carrying the seed of equivalent advantage, as Hill taught. Biblical narratives, like Joseph's journey through betrayal and imprisonment, show how setbacks refine us for something greater. Each failure isn't an end. It's a lesson that propels you closer to your destiny if you choose to act despite the pain. Build self-discipline as the key to long-term success, for it's not fleeting emotions, but steady habits that align you with God's timeline. Hill stressed mastery through habit, viewing discipline as a spiritual practice that keeps your focus on divine preparation. Start with daily routines like prayer or reflection, turning them into pillars that support your path to greater achievements. Practice positive habits, such as setting daily goals or reviewing your progress, to mirror Hill's routines for sustained success. Try a 7-day challenge. Commit to one faith-based action each day, like reading an inspiring quote from Hill, to internalize this persistence. Creating a clear vision and goals is essential, as they fuel your motivation and give direction to God's preparation in your life. Hill's definite chief aim helps you discern and act on that divine calling, making your goals spiritually grounded and authentic. Ensure your ambitions align with a sense of purpose, like pursuing a career that serves others while honoring your faith. Guide yourself by defining specific, actionable goals. Write down your God-given vision, break it into 3 achievable steps, and review it weekly. Visualization, as Hill advocated, combined with faith, turns abstract dreams into a roadmap for your greater destiny. For real-life inspiration, look to role models like Andrew Carnegie, who overcame poverty through persistent action, seeing it as God's preparation. Carnegie's story, as shared by Hill, shows how embracing challenges led to industrial success and a lasting legacy. We can draw parallels to biblical figures like Moses, who hesitated at the burning bush but acted on God's call, achieving extraordinary things. Just as these individuals trusted and moved forward, you too can build a legacy by responding to God's nudges with action. Reflect on this. How might God be preparing you right now, much like he did for Carnegie or Moses? In conclusion, when God is preparing you for something greater, remember that motivation and clarity follow action, echoing Hill's legacy of faith-fueled persistence. Hesitation only blocks his plan, but disciplined steps invite the growth and fulfillment you're meant to experience. Don't wait for the perfect time. As Hill said, start where you stand with whatever tools you have, trusting that God is guiding you. By acting now, you unlock your divine potential and step into the greater purpose awaiting you. Take one small step today, define a goal, make a decision, or simply pray for the courage to begin. Share your progress with others, perhaps in a community forum, to inspire and hold yourself accountable. Remember, God's preparation is active, and your action is the key that opens the door to your legacy. As you move forward, carry Hill's wisdom. Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Trust God, act now, and watch your life unfold into something truly greater. Let this be your call to embrace the journey, knowing that every step you take is part of a divine masterpiece in the making. In the end, it's not about perfection. It's about progress, faith, and the unyielding belief that you are being prepared for wonders beyond your imagination. So, rise up, take action, and let God's greater plan reveal itself through your persistent efforts. You've got this, because when God prepares you, He equips you, and now it's your turn to show up. May your path be filled with the courage of Hill's teachings and the grace of divine guidance, leading you to a legacy that inspires generations. Thank you for joining this reflection. Now, go forth and act on the greatness within you. Until next time, remember, faith without works is dead, but faith with action creates miracles. God bless your journey towards something greater. End of script. Pause for reflection. Music fades out. Credits. Inspired by Napoleon Hill's legacy. Invite to subscribe or share. Final inspirational note.